Hey, what's good, my good people? Yes, you know where you is, you know who I is. Welcome once again to the I Am the Possible podcast experience, the place where we aspire to inspire the innovation of your identity. My name is Travell C.W. Lynch. I am your host, and I am so excited to be with you once again. I want to thank you guys for showing up. I want to thank you guys for investing in yourself, right? When you listen to this podcast, this is an investment in you. It's the best investment that you could possibly make. So I want to first give a shout out and a salute to you, the listener. Thank you so much. Or you, the watcher, right? If you're watching on the tube, and you should be watching on the tube, as I always say, right? And if you're not a subscriber, you're not a part of the notification nation, then head over to YouTube today. Go ahead and look up I Am the Possible, subscribe, hit that bell so that you are first in line for all of the content, not only this podcast, but all of the organic content that I create each and every week. But guys, wow, how are you? All right, what's good? What's happening? Guys, listen, I really want to make this season so much more interactive. And so I want to continue to encourage you that if you would, if you're on the tube, drop a comment, man. Let me know what you think, right? If you agree or disagree with anything that I share, right? Drop me an email, info@iamthepossible.com, info@iamthepossible.com, or leave a review or comment on any of the podcast platforms that you guys are using. Okay. So guys, before we jump into the topic of the week, let's go ahead and go through what we go through, right? And if you're watching, you're looking at my screen, you see the slides. First thing, guys, got to remind you that our mission here, our mission in the I Am the Possible universe in general, but specifically the I Am the Possible podcast experience, it is to share ideas, information, and individuals that will inspire you to think of yourself in a way that makes the life you want possible. That's right. The way we think controls what we believe is possible, and what we believe is possible has a great influence, a great impact on what we ultimately do, right? So that is the mission. That is what we set out to do today, okay? Our confession, guys. Now, this is my confession, right? Because like I always say, even though I'm the one that's speaking and I'm the one that's communicating, I really see myself as God's communication channel, right? I really see myself as one just in a sense, being willing, right, to be up front, so to speak, or to stand on the stage or to sit in front of the camera. But ultimately, man, God is the one that's working through us all. He's the one that's communicating. He's the chief. He's the captain, man. He is the great teacher. He is the one that is dropping all of the mics. He's the one with all the jewels and the gems. So I'm just a vessel, man, that I am so privileged to be and so grateful to be. So this is our confession, guys, as we go into today's topic. I'm about to learn something that will transform the way I think about myself and help make the life I want possible, right? That aligns with the mission, that aligns with the vision that we have of individuals with innovated identities. That's right. We got to get an upgrade, right? We got to level up our identity, man, right? Because our identity, right, the one that we carry, has carried us to where we are today. And the identity that we carry, currently, it will carry us to where we want to go, as we improve it and as we innovate it and as we develop it toward that aim and toward that mountain and toward those goals and toward that life, right, that we desire. All right, guys, last one, our disclaimer. You know that, right? I am getting certified. I am being certified as a coach. So excited about that journey. And, I've got about 20 or so years in the game of teaching and preaching and counseling and training, right? In so many different arenas and so many different ways. But ultimately, guys, I have such a profound respect, and that's the best way I can put it. I've got such a profound respect for licensed, right, therapists and psychologists who really go in, man, and really serve an individual with deep deep issues and complexities. And so, as a disclaimer, the ideas expressed on this podcast, these ideas, they serve only as a component of a complex puzzle called the human behavior. Human behavior, while we are going to keep it simple this season, human behavior is complex because there's so many different things that drive, so many different things that cause and motivate our actions. There's so many contributing factors to our framework and the way that we think. It's some fascinating stuff, but that rabbit hole definitely goes deep. Okay, so this is just a component, but I think it's a good one. Okay, and we're going to be creative with our component, right? This is about innovating the identity. This is about us seeing ourselves with a new lens, right? That's what innovation does. It enables a person to see old things with new eyes. Oh, I love that, man. Right? And so I'm so excited about it. Hope you are excited about it as well. Today's topic, guys, let's jump into it. Getting out of the gridlock. The gridlock. Getting out of the gridlock. I want to ask you a question. Do you feel like your life is in gridlock, right? Do you feel like your life is in gridlock? Do you feel like a traffic jam, right? Let me look at the definition of it here. A gridlock is a traffic jam affecting a whole network of intersecting streets. You ever feel like your life is just like being held up? It's like a lot of traffic, a lot of cars, a lot of things, right, that are just jam-packed, and there's intersections, and maybe you got people pulling at you in different directions, and you got different responsibilities, and you're starting to feel like you're, as we like to say, the chicken with its head cut off, right? It's you're starting to grow. You're starting to feel the anxiety. You're starting to feel maybe some regret, right? Because life isn't going the way that you want it to go. You're definitely feeling the frustration, right? You're like, man, so many things, right? So many responsibilities, so many people expecting things of me. It is the, I wish I had a plate, right? But it's like you're spinning, you're trying to spin, right? It's like you got 10 fingers, right? But you're trying to spin, 11 plates. And it's too much. And you're like, man, how am I going to ever get out of this? I feel stuck. I feel anxious. What's around the corner? What's next? What else is life going to throw at me? Is that where you are? Well, if you are, then today's episode is for you. You're feeling like you're in gridlock. Well, I want to share with you, as I'm going to do all this season, man. I'm going to share more stories than I've ever shared before. I'm going to share my life. I'm going to be more transparent. I'm going to be transparent like you've never seen or heard before. And I believe that that's where God wants me, right? But the other day I was coming from the gym, and just to give you a little bit of a backstory, a little bit, for my boys, I dropped my boys off. I got two teenagers that are still in high school, and I drop them off each morning. And we have to leave the house at 8:00, right? So they're ready by 8:00. We literally hit the door at 8:00, and we get them up to the school around 8, maybe 8:05, 8:06 or so. And this is a normal routine. We've been doing this for years. And so the other day, I was coming from the gym and I was running late. And I said, running late, I'll pull up at the side of the house. I'll blow. You guys, come on, run out, and I'll get you to school. Well, I ended up being much later than I expected. I think I was maybe like 5 or 6 minutes late. Now, this didn't make a whole bunch of a difference at first, but the fact that, they're depending on me. They are my responsibility. It's my responsibility to get them to school. So just by being 5 or 6 minutes late, I was already feeling some type of way. Like, can you relate? Right? And so I'm already behind. I'm already, and you're starting to feel the anxiety, and you're starting to feel that internal pressure that you put on yourself, right? So I pull up, man, and, I blow and they come out. And so now traffic has built up. See, one of the benefits of leaving at 8 is that we miss some of this early morning gridlock. We get ahead of a little bit of it. We don't totally miss it, but we get ahead of it. And normally we could take a different route because we leave at 8:00, and I can drop them off at a different place. But because I was late, now I needed to drop them off at the school, literally. So it's a little further, and it pushes me into the gridlock. See, where I would normally drop them off at 8:00, I can avoid the gridlock because I'm going to drop them off at a certain street corner, and then they walk the rest of the way, and everything is great, and everything works out, and everything is smooth. But no, because I was late. See where the regret comes from? See where the frustration comes from, where you start to kind of beat yourself down a little bit. And so now I have to get them to the school, right? And so I get them to the school, man. And the block on this school, this is a high school, and I'm talking about, man, hundreds of cars. Just to get through a light, we had to stop and we had to wait like 3 or 4 different, how the light changes, or red to green, and it lets a few cars go. And then, right, because like gridlock is this intersection, a jammed up intersection. And man, it was extremely frustrating, and I was getting more and more anxious as I sat in that car. And all that was going through my mind was, man, this could have been prevented. This is ridiculous, man. Come on, it's gridlock. This is seriously, guys. There's no better, you start pointing fingers at the situation. Like, there's no better way for us to drop our kids off in the morning. There's no better system, right? You start blaming, you start looking around, all these different things start going through your head. And as I was getting more and more anxious, more and more frustrated, more and more angry within, I wasn't letting my voice see it, but I'm just boiling on the inside. I had this thought, and it reminded me of a exercise that I'm learning through my coaching certification about connecting the dots. It's this exercise where a lot of individuals sometimes will blame life, or they'll look at other people's situation and they'll say, oh, they got it good, they're lucky, oh, woe is me, they're special, how come their life works out like that but mine doesn't, right? It's the blame game. And one way to diffuse the blame game is this exercise of connecting the dots. It's starting where you are and then systematically working your way backwards to the root. Sort of like a firefighter, right? There's a big forest fire, but it started somewhere. There's a root to it. And the firefighter would trace that thing all the way back to a cigarette, right? Something so small. Someone was out there smoking and they just threw a cigarette and it became this acres and acres and acres on fire. Well, that's how it works with gridlock. We find ourselves in this gridlock of life, behind on our responsibilities, being pulled in a million different directions, becoming frustrated, angry, and anxious. And it feels like our head is about to explode. And some of us, we tighten up and we freeze and we're paralyzed. Others of us just start to take wild and frantic actions. But all of it is just a emotional cocktail, an emotional roller coaster, right? And so kind of back to my story, right? So I'm sitting in that car and I'm just, you can't go anywhere. Cars in front, side and back, right? Front, back, side to side, right? That's gridlock. And then this idea comes to mind, right? I just learned about this in class, connect the dots. And I was inspired to share this episode. Because when I began to connect the dots, guys, you know what I found? I find myself in gridlock right now, frustrated, angry, anxious, right? Regretful. Not because the school system is jacked up or all these people on the road are just full of mess, right? Not because my kids need to leave at 8 o'clock. Nope. I began to connect the dots and I began to look at, well, I left the gym late. But why did I leave the gym late? Oh, that's right. I wanted to do an extra set. But why did I want to do an extra set? Oh, because I was late going to the gym and I was already feeling some type of way about, not having my full time in the gym. So I tried to push it a little more, try to get a little more in. But wait, why was I late to the gym? Oh, because when I got up, I dilly-dallied around getting my clothes together and getting my gym bag together and getting my pre-workout together. But why did I dilly-dally around in the morning? Oh, because this particular morning I hit the alarm 3 times and I should have got up on the first alarm. But why did I do that? Oh, because I didn't go to bed when I should have gone to bed. And why did I have to dilly-dally in the morning with putting things together? Oh, because I didn't do it the night before. And how come I didn't do it the night before? You're starting to see how it all works. Now, this isn't maybe mind-blowing information. Maybe you're like, yeah, man, I heard this before. Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Or maybe it's brand new to you. Nevertheless, how do we get out of gridlock? How do we prevent gridlock? By being a little more organized. By taking responsibility, ownership, and charge of the fact that, hey, man, my day is my day. My life is my life. It's not the responsibility of the school to come up with better systems for traffic. It's not the responsibility of other parents to drop their kids off on different streets or sooner or later to accommodate me. How do I get out of gridlock? By understanding what truly caused it. What truly causes the gridlock. Because as much as I analyze myself, I could probably interview most of the parents on that street that day, and they would probably tell you a similar story. Maybe for them, it was, they got caught up in the Starbucks line. I don't know, right? Or maybe for them, they lost a shoe and they couldn't find it, and but they didn't put the shoe, where it should have been put the night before. And so that morning when they lost their shoe, they couldn't find it and they didn't leave on time as well. And I mean, everyone would probably have a story to tell as to why they ended up on that street in those intersections at that time. The gridlock of life is never the result of the present moment. It is always 20 or 30 steps back that eventually led to that moment. And so if you're at a place in your life where you're experiencing and feeling the gridlock of life, right? You're caught up in it right now. I want to give you some steps. I want to give you some perspective, some very practical things that you can do beginning this week to help get you out of that gridlock and to help prevent that gridlock going forward. This week, guys, I want to encourage you to, number one, create your own epiphany. And how do you do this? You ask questions. The first question, or the first thing for this week, is ask yourself the question, what led to this? What led to my current frustrations? And give yourself permission to be totally honest, totally transparent with yourself, and forgive you, right? Pre-forgive. This isn't about regret. This isn't about dumping on yourself and seeing how horrible of a person you are. This isn't about holding your head down and saying, see, I'll never get it. No, this is about doing some analytical work and just simply saying, hey, what led to this? Much like I did sitting in the car. Create your own aha moment. Create your own epiphany. What led to this? And then allow yourself to backtrack in whatever area of life it is. It can be in your career. It can be in your relationships. It can be, physical gridlock. I mean, you're sitting in traffic, even as you listen to this. I don't know, right? But the fact is it's what led to this, right? Connect your dots like I did. Crank out a piece of paper. Obviously, if you're driving, don't do it right now, but grab you a pen and a pad, right? An actual pen and pad. I do it all the time, right here, right? Pen and pad. I always keep a pen and pad close. There's something wonderful, something magical about writing things down instead of even typing them in a computer. It's something about writing that connects with our memory bank, right? And it retains information, right? Because you want to get this etched in there, right? You want to integrate this into your life. You want to engage this information, right? So connect your dots. What led to this? Write that down. And then I want you to own the process, right? Own the process. Make a decision to own your process. You're the owner of your process. It's like buying a house. If I rent my home, there's not much I can change. But if I own my home, I can change anything I want. If you don't own the process of your gridlock, if you don't own the dots that connected to your gridlock, if you don't own that, then you can't change it. It can't be someone else's fault. It can't be the school's fault. It can't be the other parent's fault. It can't be your kid's fault. You can't blame. You have to own. So be the owner of your process. Own it. And understand that, hey, if I don't own up to this, then I can't change this. Number two, I want you to remember that this is, and consciously, right, whether you confess this or you write this out, this is a lesson, not a life sentence, okay? This is a lesson, not a life sentence. Many times we fail to have compassion on ourselves. Many times we look to blame ourselves and to just really, punish ourselves just unnecessarily. So as you look back, as you're connecting those dots, as you're looking back, just understand, man, that this is a lesson that you're learning from it, just like I learned from it, and now I'm sharing it with you. Just learn from it. Okay, this is how I got here. Now we go to number 3, right? The last one, right? So now you're owning it, because that's how you're ultimately going to change your behavior and change what led to the gridlock in your life in whatever area, right, that we're dealing with. Number 2, you're going to forgive yourself, right? that liberates you and frees you up to then move forward. If you don't forgive yourself, you are in prison and you're not going to move forward. It's literally, unforgiveness is a prison. It is a life sentence. You are punishing yourself. You are locking the door to future opportunities, to future change. So you have to say, I'm good. I did that, but I'm not that. That's a huge difference. That's a game changer. That's an innovation of someone's identity. I made the mistake, but I'm not a mistake. I made a bad choice, but I'm not a bad choice. I messed up. Yeah. But I'm not a mess up. And maybe, just maybe, that's the breakthrough that you need. I'm feeling that right in my center, right? In my spirit, man. Someone out there, if nothing else, you listened to this episode for that right there. That's your identity innovation. That's your innovation right there. That's your level up right there. I made the mistake, but I'm not a mistake. I messed up, but I'm not a mess up. I failed to do what I should have done, but I'm not a failure. I am where I am because of me, and I'll be where I will be and where I want to be because of me. That's right. That's right. Take ownership. Yeah. This is not saying that you control the world, but this is saying that you control the things that God has graced you to control, which are things as simple as your decision-making processes, the 24 hours that He gives you in a day, the choices that you make, the thoughts that you think, the words that you say, the actions that you take. You're not in control of everything, but you are in control of the one thing that matters: your mind. Someone needed to hear that. All right, guys, last one. And I kind of already shared it, right? Connect the dots, but I want you to analyze and adjust. When you ask yourself, what led to this? And you write out, you literally take the dots and you connect the dots and you write them out, right? And you say, okay, gridlock here. What led to where I am literally today? Okay, this. And then then what led to that? Okay, this. Okay, then what led to that? Okay, this. And then what led to that? Okay, this. Oh, and then what led to that? This. Okay, then what led to that? This. And you keep backtracking it. And you'll see that at every point, you made a decision or a choice or took an action. You thought a thought, you said a word, you did a thing. Now, if you start to do this exercise and you start to see what other people did, then acknowledge that, acknowledge their involvement, and get back to what you can take ownership of. Because if you stay fixated on what others did or how life did something to you, right? Remember, life, right? Life is not about what happens to you, but it's about what happens through you. Okay, so the focus must be what's happening through me versus what's happening to me. That's where the power is, right? That's how you become empowered. That's a empowered image. That's a empowered perception and perspective and belief and framework of life. Life is happening through me, not to me. Okay. And so when you have that framework and you're analyzing this, you can acknowledge what other people are doing or have done, but let's not get fixated right there, right? Let's focus on what you can do and what you've done. And then now you can analyze it better, write those things down, and then adjust accordingly. No one wants to be in gridlock. No one wants to be caught up. No one wants to be frustrated and anxious and, things coming from every angle. No one wants to be in that state. So pick a new image, pick a new aim, pick a new idea, pick a new place. Where do I want to be? And just like you backtrack the dots backwards, now you want to backtrack or now you want to forward project, right? Because if it worked in the reverse, then it can work right going forward. So you saw how the dots connected going backwards. Now you just want to re-engineer. So now you want to say, this is where I am, and these are the things that led me to this place. Where do I want to be, and what will lead me to that place? And then begin. Step one, if I do this, it's likely that this will happen. If I do that, then it's likely that that will happen. And so write that out as well. When you analyze with compassion and not criticism, you're able to move with clarity, move with confidence. And that's what I want for you, to move with clarity and to move with confidence. I hope and pray that these things have made sense. All right, guys, time to wrap it up. Getting out of the gridlock. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Finally, guys, will you support? Number one, tell somebody. Word of mouth is still the number one way to advertise. If this episode or if this podcast has positively influenced, impacted, inspired you, right? Then tell somebody. If you're going through it, someone else is likely going through it as well. Leave me a comment. Again, you can email me, info@iamthepossible.com. Let me know what's happening, man. Let me know what's good. You got any questions, concerns, suggestions for future topics? I want to hear from you, right? info@iamthepossible.com. YouTube channel. I am growing my viewership, even as I grow my listenership. But the visual, right? The experience here. We want to engage as many of the senses as we possibly can. So if you're not already subscribed on YouTube, head over to YouTube and look us up. I Am the Possible or Travell C.W. Lynch. Subscribe and hit that notification so you will be part of the nation. And then lastly, Apple Podcasts or any podcast platform that you listen to. Subscribe, download, get the information, and leave a review. Let me know how this is going. Let me know if this hits you. Let me know if this is helpful, right? These are the things that help me to better craft, episodes going forward, right? So your feedback is extremely important, and I would greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, that's it. Until next time, I love you guys. I'm praying for you guys. I'm believing in you guys. This is the I Am the Possible podcast experience, where we aspire to inspire the innovation of your identity. Now, go out there today, some way, and be why it's possible. Peace.